All right. So yeah, I'm thinking like Instagram and YouTube are kind of the best thing to go with videos, and like social media. YouTube's trying to do some shit now with posts, but I don't even know how to do it. It's kind of weird to use. And Instagram doesn't give you any sort of online version, but their app is 100% the best. But like,
Yeah.
what do you think about Twitter though, Todd? Like we were thinking about
Twitter,
Twitter and Facebook, and that I think they both suck. What do you think?
oh, for sure. Definitely. I don't know. Facebook is kind of okay, but Twitter fucking is horrible. Every time I sign on to that shit, you go on, and then it seems like they just like want you to read like every single fucking tweet that's happened since I closed my phone. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's like a billion, and it's
Oh
like
yeah.
I don't have time to read all this shit.
Yeah, I
Like
don't
who
need to
it's
see my
and
uncle like Donald Trump's tweet, and my
yeah, and
best friend from high school is a Hillary Clinton supporter still, even though she's not running in this election.
and I don't understand. Everyone else on Twitter seems to just always be commenting on everything, on
Yeah,
every tweet. It's like, what the fuck is it? I swear to God, people just pick like one person and they're just like, I'm going to comment on every tweet that they make ever. And I'm going to
yeah,
say negative shit. It's like,
yeah. The only thing I can't argue with is the comedy, the Twitter comedy, like where I can't even depict what's negative and what's not. Like, is this negative or sarcastic or trolling? Like that.
well,
That's the nuances, I guess, of Twitter that maybe I'm too old for, but I did join it way back, like 2011 or some shit.
yeah. No,
And
I just mean
I've been
like,
on Twitter. It's good for news and sports
I,
and
I don't even
celebs,
mean
but
like
other than
negative
that,
in
it's
like a,
nonsense.
I don't even mean like good and negative in like a good or bad way. Like I don't know. I don't have a feeling about like how people are approaching it. I just mean like
Yeah,
they disagree with someone, so they like find the person that represents that, and they are gonna comment on every single tweet that they make to get everyone to know that they disagree with that person's opinion. Like it's just like that's just their goal because there's no other way for you to respond to all their tweets unless you just like sit there and you pick that person that you're like that's the person I'm gonna fucking try and get their
true,
attention. You know what I mean?
true. So yeah, that's true. Twitter's like a troll
But
machine. It's like
it's just
you
like
should follow people
everybody.
you don't like if you
Yeah,
want to have a good retweetable account or get good retweets and replies. Hey.
yeah. I guess if that's what you yeah if that's what you're going for. If you want to
Otherwise,
be
you're looking
happy,
up.
I would follow shit you like.
Otherwise, your search history is gonna be Donny Boy, like you're chirping Donald
Yeah,
Trump all day or whatever it is. But yeah, I like Twitter for a quick laugh and catching up on some sports quickly. But yeah, there's so much nonsense and it's that personal people
yeah.
put, and
It's just everything in between.
the commentary, the social commentary isn't. I don't need that Discord. I left Facebook for a
Yeah,
reason. It wasn't because of all the photos. It was definitely, or the character limit. It was definitely because it was too much for the social commentary.
yeah,
Instagram, you have to click a few buttons to see that dumb commentary, and you can just keep scrolling like, ooh, cool photo. But yeah,
yeah. I like Instagram. Instagram's my favorite. I'm not sure why.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
just like a
something
picture, and you just that's it. It's picture. So I don't need
exactly.
words. Yeah, because I just don't want people complaining. You know what I hate on Instagram when people put a picture and it's full of fucking words.
Yeah. No, no, wrong platform. Yeah. This is
Yeah,
not the
go to
typey
Facebook.
platform. This is the picturey platform.
Yeah.
Learn how to use Instagram. Yeah. It's okay
Exactly.
to have like a couple words. Like
Yeah, you
there's
know.
also a lot of space below to put words if that's what you're looking.
Yeah, don't put a fucking paragraph and like try to make me read
Don't
it.
word up the picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Instagram's explore page is pretty sick. And
Oh yeah.
the fact it's so basic is dope. Like Facebook is too much going on. It's like AOL. Like, did
Yeah.
you ever use AOL browser or
No,
AOL
I'm
internet?
not fucking 30.
Yeah. Yeah, not yet
No, I
either.
used it,
I'm not
I think,
either.
a couple times. I
Yeah,
remember
you
using
had
it
to
at
use
my
it at
grandma's.
grandma's. Yeah, you had to
Yeah,
use it at
my
grandma's.
grandma's house, and
Exactly.
it was like just so slow. Anything I tried to do like was just
But it had
past. the control of AOL.
Yeah, it was like the cloud, like OG the cloud. You'd go on and it had like AOL Instant Messenger there, and like the news up here, and like do here, and a website here, and your email in a
Yeah.
different tab. Like, so it was like a platform for all this stuff to load up in. But yeah, then web browsers really took over. Internet Explorer kind of dominated that market, and there's a big history of that corporation stuff.
For sure.
But yeah, now we got to today where there's like one social media that's bought up everyone except Twitter.
Facebook.
Yeah, it's hard not to enjoy Twitter, but a lot of people ruin it.
Yeah.
But you gotta
I
have
don't know.
that competition.
I'm just not a. I just think I'm not like a social media type person. I guess
True. Yeah.
Instagram is like okay, but it's just like some people they are drawn to it, and that's like Twitter's like their thing. But
my problem is people don't respect the art form. Like,
of social media.
yes, like you're posting a photo, like this is like it makes for bad photography, like, or if you're posting a graphic, you're like, it makes for bad graphic design on average. Like, I'm not saying, and then you're posting
Yeah.
like whatever on Twitter, like it makes for bad poetry on average, because most people aren't posting anything other than their opinion, which in less than 280 characters is poetry. So the the social commentary I could stand less for. I think that needs to be just off Twitter, like completely. Like, get rid of Donald Trump's social commentary, get rid of everyone else's social commentary. Life will be a lot easier, and the news will be like lost for a second. Like, what do we report on? But they'll get back to things. We'll get to hear the actual news.
I feel like that it's like deeper than that though. Like when you look at like what it's done for parts of the world that haven't been so lucky to be like in a democracy. Like,
oh yeah, we're
having
so
access to that shit. Yeah, exactly. Like we sit over here and we say that shit like they should regulate Twitter and shit. It's like, yo, like people who fucking don't live in a democracy have been able to talk to each other and like like we're over here like complaining because we have too much freedom and we can't handle it. Like
they can't even have free thought there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're just like, let's meet up in the streets. Like for the first time, they're able to do that without going door to door and like get beat up by the cops. You know, like
yeah, exactly. You Google search like Pamela Anderson as a woman, and you get like killed because she's wearing no clothes. But you can download Twitter on a burner cell phone and just like follow weed Instagrams all day.
Exactly.
So yeah, I get what you're saying. 100%. I'm an idiot.
It's bigger than
VPNs
that.
are sick.
It's I know, it's just too easy. I just hate, like, I don't know. I just feel like
mass surveillance
society ruins things they make for some reason.
Well, yeah,
you know, they make like really awesome things, and then like other people utilize them better because they need them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're just, I feel like we're just so influenced by American culture. Like around the globe, period. The news is kind of influenced, and it's all part of the British Manifest Destiny, which I hope the world's turning against. And we all know China never let them really have it. They just are quiet in the background there.
What's that?
With Manifest Destiny and Britain trying to overreach and take over as much of the world, conquer as much as they can.
You think China let them happen?
No, China just sat there quietly, and like you said,
they suck.
Like if you watch episode 1, we talk about the Opium Wars.
Oh yeah, Opium Wars.
No,
number 2,
lost. Secret History. Episode 1, we just talk about some dumb shit. We might have to take that off the internet soon and make you pay to watch it even.
Yeah, probably. Once we're huge and famous.
Yeah.
But
probably a lot before that. I don't think we'll ever be huge and famous. Yeah. Unlike Todd, I'll shake everybody's hand even through coronavirus.
Yeah. I'll shake your hand for $10.
Just don't be upset when I sanitize my hands after and wipe you in alcohol sanitizer before.
I'll do it for money, you know.
Yeah, $10.
$10 to shake my hand. That's coronavirus or no?
Link below, donate, and tell Todd what homeless person you want him to give lunch to, and he'll do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he'll share.
I'll do anything for $10.
Yeah.
That's a deal. Comment down below, $10. I'll do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Send it at the PayPal link, $10. Comment down below what you want Todd to do. We'll put it on the next gram.
Sounds good.
Or YouTube. Yeah. But yeah, speaking of China, like they're the OGs of psychedelics. So
yeah.
I kind of had to talk about them today. We got deep into the research with Russia because they're really good, as we mentioned, at getting the documents and the research. They know the facts are important.
Yeah.
They are like, forget about the scientists. We can figure that out elsewhere. But then at the same time, also, like, if you listen to William Guy Carr, like Russia and US might be the same entity, just behind different shields.
Yeah. Just
according
with
to the
different
Illuminati.
tactics
Yeah.
to see what's the best.
If you're into the Bilderberg group or the Illuminati, which I'm not, I am into the Bilderberg group, but I think there's a more of just a British monarch kind of thing going there, that common kings and queens, than there is like I don't think Russia and Britain are entertaining each other. I think there's definitely a Cold War constantly going on. And there's one going on right now, which definitely involves China, and Russia's probably taking a back seat and just pumping up their nukes right now and teasing us with space and nukes. And it's a distraction because I think China might be in its own ecosystem, even just how big it is compared to Russia and China, US put together.
I think China is a giant cardboard box. It's like a big red cardboard box. And one day it's going to look like the Balkans.
True. But yeah,
that's what
comment down below what you think. Are we wrong? Like, I need to know this. I need to know if the whole world gets like the US feed, or if people know what's going on in China at all, or if it is just whatever China tells us, and what's going on in between. Like, where's your guys' source?
I mean, we're just making comments.
Yeah, is it a British monarch source? Like, we live in a commonwealth that's directly tied to the US, so we just know what we know. And I've traveled to Europe, but once. Haven't been anywhere else. And I've only been to 3 countries: England, France, also Belgium and Holland, or Netherlands, whatever you should call it. But yeah, I want to go to so many different places, so buy our merch.
Buy our merch.
No, we don't make enough money off the merch. Donate.
Yeah, donate to our PayPal. Yeah. And then we'll travel to wherever you want.
Yeah, we'll show you cool places of wherever we travel. And if you want us to take psychedelic drugs there or do whatever the hell, send some extra money and we'll try to figure out our way. Yeah, send some contacts too. We'll do it.
Send some contact.
Yeah. We don't mind getting set up, FBI. Just make sure you send us a lot of money.
Just make sure when you set us up, you give us good drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Follow us on Insta, subscribe to the YouTube, set us up. We're all cool.
Set us up.
We're all cool. As long as we can get money off of the videos from it, like we're cool with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not cool with making any deals I know about though, so you better not fucking tell me. Set me up. I'm too dumb to agree to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I quickly like we were saying, kind of keep getting off topic here. If you did listen to the last part we did, the bonus episode, that was kind of the first hour and a bit. We were just rambling on what's been going on the last week, and we're pushing stuff out a week behind, just for editing purposes and our own sanity at this point. You need to buy more stuff, subscribe, follow, so we can quit doing that and give it to you right on time. But we're going to release that episode with the other one or shortly after, give you the heat while it's still in the streets.
Yeah, we got lots of episodes in the pipe.
Exactly. We got so many ideas. We just want to give you what we can when we can. So if you don't like anything to do with the pod, just comment, send us some money, we'll fix it. But yeah, for China specifically, the hallucinogenic kings, as far as we know, they've been doing it for the longest because I don't know if you guys have looked into this stuff at all, but I'm literally going by what I can find in Wikipedia and Google, and sometimes getting to page 2 or 3, but that's going deep for me, and I can only read English, so I probably am getting like none of the research. But I was responsible for finding like what the past of China was. So what we know is Zhang Hu's Bu Bao Zi, I messed up, his earliest record of psilocybin mushroom, laughing Jim in C290. So whatever that is. I don't know if that's a Chinese thing or if that's like 290 BC or before or what. So you guys tell us so we know, we could give you guys better research on China. But anyways, there's a really cool story and a crazy story all wrapped up in one here. So I'm going to kind of read it to you from the Wikipedia page. If you can read it yourself too if you'd like. They're pretty cool stuff. So the Chinese botanist, academic, and researcher Hulin Li wrote seminal articles about the history and use of hallucinogenic plants in China. Li cites a story in Li Zhen's 1596 magnum opus Benko Gangmu as the first discussion about the general use of psychoactive plants. In 1561, after horrific murders in Changli, the Ming Dynasty Zhijing Emperor proclaimed a nationwide edict warning about the dangers of hallucinogens. So that's just one thing to precursor this next story. Lang Dang, Yunxin, Fang Kui, and Red Shun, I don't know how to say that one, Shenglu, all can cause I don't know how to say any of those ones, to be honest. I probably said them all wrong. All can cause hallucinations in people. In the past, this significance has not been fully divulged. Plants of this kind are all toxic, which can obscure the mind, alter one's consciousness, and confuse one's perception of sight and sound. In Tang times, An Lushan, a foreign warlord in the Chinese army service, once enticed Catan, tribesmen surrendered to his command, to drink Langdang wine and buried them alive while they were unconscious. Again, in the second month of the 43rd year of the Qichin period, 1567 AD, a wandering monk, Wu Zhu Sing of Xinxi province. So yeah, kind of weird that story just ends. Like they just buried them alive unconscious. So but in this story gets wild. So Wu Zhising of Xinxi province, who possessed wizardry, arrived at Changli and stopped over at the house of a resident, Chang Shu. Upon finding the latter's wife being very beautiful, he asked the entire family sit together at the table with him. Then he was offered a meal. He put some reddish potion in the rice, and after a while, the whole family became unconscious and submitted to his assault. He then blew a magic spell into the ears of Chang Shu, and the latter turned crazy and violent. Chang visualized his entire family as all devils and thereby killed them all, 16 altogether, without any bloodshed. The local authorities captured Chang Shu and kept him in prison. After 10 days, he spat out nearly 2 spitting spoons full of phlegm, became conscious, and found out himself that those he killed were his parents, brothers, sister-in-laws, his wife, sons, sisters, and nephews. So imagine if the U.S. had this power drug and could just give it to Lee Harvey Oswald or whoever they felt like, a berserker. So yeah, Viking type shit. Both Chang and Wu were committed to the death sentence. The Emperor Shizong proclaimed throughout the country about the case. The particular magic potion must be of the kind of lang dang or similar drugs. When the man was under the spell, he saw everyone else as a devil. It is thus very important to find out the remedy that counteracts such a thing. So from that 1977 article. So who knows when that story happened, but even from that day, they were trying to get rid of the side effects of a bad trip. Um, so they knew at that time. It seemed like 1561. You could bury people unconscious. You could create people that would kill their entire families. So pretty useful tool for military purposes, and it was being used as military purposes. So no doubt the USA copied that strategy, and it's like I've always thought. I don't think the US and China and have as strong ties as Russia and US might, and Russia and US might be just fronting on the whole Cold War thing to be like, gassing each other up, like, we're going to space first, we're going to space first, we're building nukes first, we're building nukes first. Meanwhile, China's already doing all this stuff and we're just copying it. Are we really ahead on the tech boom, or is that just the narrative we're hearing? So comment down below, let us know for sure. Are they arresting Huawei CFO to just say, like, don't dare tread on our turf, like cartel wars? What's going on there? Kidnapping? Who knows? Could be. I mean, I don't pass anything by anyone anymore. I don't know. It's potential. Like, technically it is. Like, no matter how you slice it, if you decide you don't want that person's product sold in there, like, I think you should just not allow those products to come in anymore. If anyone disagrees with me, let me know why. But I think they shouldn't get arrested in Canada for just having some sort of trade in Iran sanction. Like, I think you have a right to a trial, and I think, like, they should be allowed back to China until that trial happens.
Yeah.
And whether China punishes them or not, that's up to China. Like, we can't decide what other countries do, like, as much as we want to. Like, I don't agree in the New World. I think that's a flex of the New World Order, and look what's happened since then.
Yeah.
Coronavirus came out. Like, I'm not saying it was a planned thing. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised if that is why. Like, because that's a state-run company that everyone knows for a fact, and that's why the Hawaii CFO got arrested. But no one's saying that in pandemic or anything like that, or this 5G theory.
Yeah.
Or are they? Like, maybe they are blaming Hawaii, and maybe there's a connection there. Maybe that's why I'm speculating. Like, I literally have no idea what I'm saying. But I honestly do think that could be considered kidnapping, human trafficking. Like,
yeah.
But Canada's been known to do it. They gave Mark Emery to the States for selling seeds. So yeah, that's some crazy shit. Probably for another pod, but long down the line, because cannabis is as great as it is. We want to give you guys the stuff that is even crazier, mind blowing, and
life changing.
Exactly. Let you know the intelligence, and let you speculate on the conspiracy theories elsewhere, because there's a lot of cool pods for that, and we want to just bring the facts. So the Lang, it's one of the most famous hallucinant drugs in Chinese herbals. For use in medicine, the seeds are supposedly treated by soaking in vinegar and milk. It helps one for a long period, enable one to walk long distances, benefiting to the mind and adding strength. When taken in excess, it causes one to stagger madly. But even at low doses, you can communicate with spirits and seeing devils. But the seed is extremely poisonous when accidentally taken. It causes delirium and seeing sparks and flashes. Should not be taken raw, as it hurts people, causing them to see devils, acting madly like picking needles. So some pretty wild military type weapon they used there back in the day. So then there's Yun Shi. We don't know if this was a weapon or not. It was a versatile drug plant in Chinese pharmacopoeia, so used in medicine commonly. Flowers could enable one to see spirits, and when taken in excess, cause one to stagger madly. If taken over a prolonged period, they produce a somatic levitation and affect communication with spirits. Tai Hongjing, who edited the official Shanging Taoist canon, also complied. The flowers will drive away evil spirits when put in water and burn. The spirits can be summoned, and the seeds are like langdang. If burned, spirits can be summoned, but this sorcery method has not been observed. So a bit different. It has not been noted as a hallucinogenic plant in modern works. And in fact, as far as I'm aware, it has not been investigated medicinally or chemically. That's what Li Hulin noted, who wrote the Langdang stories. So Fang Ku root is used in Chinese medicine, and like the previous cat's claw, has not been noted as hallucinogenic in modern works. But what it says here, feverish people should not take it because it causes one to be delirious and see spirits. If taken in excess, makes one become delirious and act somewhat like mad. It also says, alternatively, the psychoactive components of the plant may be deactivated by the cooking process employed in the preparation of the plant in Korea, where they use it as a leaf vegetable and remove the psychoactive component. So that's pretty cool. And then there's Shanglu. It has edible leaves and poisonous roots. China's oldest extant dictionary gives two names for pokeweed, Shutang and Meiwei. Chinese herbals distinguish two kinds of Shanglu, white with white flowers and white root, and red with red flowers and purple root. White root is edible when cooked. Red root's extremely poisonous. Tao Hongjingming Blue Li, I don't know if I said that right. For sure I didn't. Records how Taoists use the red variety by boiling or brewing and by boiling or brewing and then taken. It can be used for abdominal parasitic worms and for seeing spirits. Again, they love their spirits here. Like, if you want to see spirits, just go to China and ask for whatever hallucinogens they got. Whether they're legal or not, you'll see spirits. It was much used by sorcerers in ancient times.
I read about when cannabis first came to Europe. It was brought by Napoleon, and became really popular with like wealthy people. There was a society of cannabis smokers. I can't remember the name. It was in French, and that was their entire goal, was to see spirits. They apparently spent fortunes. There was all these rich Europeans. They spent fortunes on weed, and they just would all sit around. They just get super high, and they just would try and get spirits. I don't think they were ever successful though.
Yeah.
Or they never said they were.
True. Yeah. They were never able to record it because once they were on high enough to see spirits, they couldn't write shit down because they forgot about it, like DMT. But yeah, I'll finish up here and get into the cannabis thing, because Chinese culture is along the same line, according to Wikipedia. Yeah. So we don't know who interpreted this and wrote this. We might be getting
Westerners giving us bullshit.
But it seems like it's on based on a 1977 article for the most part. But yeah, the red root itself, what they said, the red kind can be used to summon spirits. It is very poisonous. It can only be used as an external applicant for inflammation. When ingested, it's extremely harmful, causing unceasing bloody stool. It may be fatal. It causes one to see spirits. So even though
that sounds like some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. If you die, you're gonna see spirits. That's probably the only thing. But yeah, no one wants to fucking shit to death.
There was
but I guess it was a famine relief food too. Cut them up into slices, scald then soak, wash repeated, throw away the extract.
Because your stomach is literally shit out.
You throw away the poisonous phytotoxin from the white roots, and then just cut it up and eat it with garlic.
Oh, and then it's not so bad.
Yeah, plants with white flowers, it said, can confer longevity. So you don't want the red ones, period. So the red ones are the dangerous ones. So yeah, I don't
Okay,
think
I
they were eating
understand.
those.
I
They,
understand.
yeah. Otherwise, it's just a fucking root vegetable diet, I guess. I guess.
Oh wait, but that's how it would get you high though. Also,
Yeah.
obviously they were eating them then. If they thought
Well, no, the
it's
red
made you see
root is
spirits.
extremely poisonous, and it may be fatal, but it causes one to see spirits. But I
Sounds
guess
like they were eating it.
even the white one, it says by boiling or brewing, then taken, it can be used for abdominal
Oh,
parasitics and
you
seeing
gotta brew
spirits.
it.
And seeing spirits. It must be used by sorcerers. Or it was
Oh,
used by
you have to be
sorcerers.
a sorcerer.
No, it just was used by them. But yeah, for cannabis, it was used for a long time. Cannabis flowers, there was a bunch of different names for a bunch of different cannabises. Like they knew male was the producers and better fibers, and females were for the
Nice.
cannabinoids and smoking. That's documented. This is a different article from 1973, but there was verbiage for it in the 3rd century BCE, so long time ago. But yeah, this is really funny what they say here. I'm just going to read it. So in C670, Mengjing C670 says people will combine equal parts of raw cannabis flowers, Japanese sweet flag, and wild mandrake, pound them into pills of the size of marbles, and take one facing the sun every day. After 100 days, one can see spirits. So exactly what you were saying, Todd. But what they also said,
Yeah.
Mei Fen, Tang's Shengwei's 1108 Zhenglei Bankao gives a more complete account on the pharmaceutical uses of cannabis. Mayfen has a spicy taste. It is toxic. It is used for waste diseases and injuries. So they knew it was medical. It clears blood and cools temperatures. It relieves fluxes. It undoes rheumatism. It discharges pus. If taken in excess, it produces hallucinations and a staggering gait. What's wrong with that, though? If taken over a
Yeah.
long term, it causes one to communicate with spirits and lightens one's body. So I don't know where I swear I've taken cannabis over a long term, and I have not communicated with any spirits
I mean,
that I
like, how
know of.
much are they talking dosage though?
Yeah, maybe on
I
Wiz
mean,
Khalifa's level, you can communicate with spirits. Because he does
yeah,
have a
I'm
very small body. Like, I've got the small body part, but I don't have the communicate with spirits part.
maybe you're just not listening.
True, that's true. Maybe I'm too busy potting with the headphones on and the spirits are communicating
Yeah,
all the
maybe we
time.
should try communicating with spirits.
Yeah, true. That'll come up. Should we comment below
Yo,
and let us know?
yeah, we'll study up on it.
Yeah,
See if we can
send us the
sorcerer this up.
send us the money for a Ouija board. We'll do
Yeah.
it. Uh, but yeah, Mantulula. This is another one. It's Jimson weed or Buddhism mandala. Contains highly toxic tropane alkaloids. The drug is used in combination with cannabis and taken with wine as an anesthetic
Did
for
you say
small.
gypsum weed?
Yeah, Jimson weed.
Is that like Datura?
Yeah, Datura. Exactly.
I know that one. That one's a scary one. I know
Yeah.
people who've done that.
What about
Yeah.
it? What
Oh,
about the
just
people who've done
like
it?
fucking stories they told were messed up. Just like like days, being high for days, and like seeing things that aren't real, and then just like I don't
Spirits?
know. I'm trying to remember. No, like just like no, just
They
like
weren't looking for
whole
spirits.
scenarios. Like yeah, they were
Oh, it was
just
like
like
living in
like
alternate
like a
reality
fish
for a
tank.
second, eh? Like
Yeah,
salvia, kind of
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
exactly. And
Like
just like
like a long-term salvia. That's crazy.
yeah,
But yeah,
for like
according to
days. I wish I could. Yeah,
yeah, no worries. I
yeah,
understand completely, and anyone who's on
yeah,
psychedelics would too, because like you can't re-explain this stuff.
yeah.
It's like
It's
salvia
not
for
me, so
days.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's not. It's like salvia for days, like which I picture it is. Just imagine that. And here's
Yeah.
a recorded experience. According to traditions, it is alleged that when the flowers are picked for use with wine while one is laughing, the wine will cause one to produce laughing moments. When the
Yeah.
flowers are picked while one is dancing, the wine will cause one to produce dancing moments. I have found that such moments will be produced when one comes half drunk with the wine and someone else laughs or dances to induce these actions. So it seems similar to acid almost in that regard.
Yeah.
Acid
It's-
means salvia, maybe? No.
Yeah.
Only much, maybe it takes longer to digest. Yeah, but yeah, just a couple more to go here. Mao Jing is the buttercup. It's a
Okay.
poisonous plant with bright yellow flowers. Remedies for emergencies. Among the herbs, there is shu lang, water lang, a plant with rounded leaves which grows along watercourses and is eaten by crabs. It's poisonous to man, and when eaten by mistake, it produces a maniacal delirium, appearing like a stroke, and sometimes with blood spitting. The remedy is to use licorice.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, if you eat licorice, you just like feel better until you die, or like,
No, I guess you just have licorice, but it
or
also
you're
says
just cured?
I really don't try it at home.
Yeah, that sounds ridiculous.
But yeah, let your friends try it first. But yeah, they say the whole plant's considered poisonous, and
Yeah.
should only be externally used as medicine for irritation and inflammation externally. So
Oh.
externally,
It's
yeah.
good for other stuff. Nice.
Exactly. But yeah, the Zhaojin, the laughing mushroom, what we were talking about earlier, it's known to Chinese herbalists for centuries before modern botanists identified it as a type of psilocybin mushroom. So
Nice.
so yeah, the Baozi Zhu or Zhang Hu's Baozu, I don't know how to fucking say this thing. I'm a fucking retard. But yeah, 232 to 300.
It's
So I
not
think
nice to say
390 after.
retarded.
Yeah, I guess not, but it's like, I'm joking.
I'm just
I'm
fucking.
not serious. Yeah, I'm slow. It's not fair to people that have disabilities to say that word. It's
okay,
their
Jason.
it's their word, and I'm a disgrace to anyone who has
You
the
don't have
right
to get
to
frustrated.
consider using it. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry.
keep
I'm just
reading.
jealous. I'm just jealous.
I'm just jealous.
Yeah, in all the mountains, the privilege, not a right.
Yeah.
Sorry, getting off topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, in all the mountain commentaries to the south of the Yangtze, there is a fungus which grows throughout the spring and summer on the large trees that have fallen down. It is known as the Jane, chopping block or execution. If one eats it, it is tasty, but suddenly the poison takes effect and kills the eater.
That's horrible.
If one eats sweet gum tree growths, they will induce uncontrollable laughter. If one drinks earth sauce, one will recover. Earth sauce
What is earth sauce?
It's some sort of, you take freshly drawn water,
Mud?
pour it into a pit 3 tri deep, a place where the
mud.
earth is yellow. Yeah, stirring the water so as to make it turbid. Yeah. It's either called soil sauce or earth sauce.
I was reading this article about how there's some places in the world where people like legit just like bake like mud into a cake. Like they just take a stone and they just like make a pile of mud. They fucking eat mud cakes.
That's dope as shit. I want a mud cake now. Thanks a lot.
No, I don't think it's good for you.
No, probably not. I have been high enough where I'd try it.
Nah.
Save myself. But yeah, I think orange juice is better. Better alternative.
Orange juice?
Yeah, I heard that.
No, that's way worse. It's probably even worse for you.
Yeah, worse than soil.
All that
at least
sugar.
it's chai deep. It's yellow earth, so maybe it's just the yellowness.
Yeah, maybe it's the special kind of earth.
Yeah, vitamin C, heavy in vitamin C.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, again in 304, another thing, Nanfang Kaomei Zoing mentions sweet gum tree grows in a different context. The shamans in the southern state of Yu use a magical fang ring, sweet gum person, that is a kind of luling, gall, found growing on sweet gum trees. When aged, they develop tumors. Sometimes in a violent thunderstorm, the tree tumor grows suddenly 3 to 5 feet in one night, and these are called fangjin. The witches of Yue collect these for witchcraft, saying they have proof of their supernatural quality. So even back then, they had proof of psychedelic drugs' supernatural qualities. Like I said, with the Lang Dang, Chinese were pros at this research. I can't translate it, so maybe I'll have to learn it and make the podcast a whole lot better. So send us some money for lessons to learn Mandarin and Cantonese. But yeah, exactly. Or just like follow and subscribe. You don't have to really send us money if you tell all of your friends and get all of them to follow and subscribe, and then buy some merch. And we don't need your money.
That's not how you plug. Okay, here's how you do.
You need to get the ad roll. Okay, Todd.
Send us money to our PayPal, or I'm gonna shoot myself in the head. That's
PayPal.me/RAPDRUGSPOD. I think. The link's below.
What's that spell? Give me some fucking money. I know where you live.
Exactly. Do you want me to kill myself? Send me some money. Do you not want me to kill myself? Send me some money.
We need this money, or I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah, like or dislike. Just do something.
This white privilege is gonna kill me.
If you keep talking about it and not using it to help anybody. But yeah. Why did I not say that the last pod? Yeah, for real, if you send us any money, we'll send it to like, we're going to just give it out to like some black homeless guy. Like,
yeah.
We'll make sure we don't want any stupid white executives or like getting any sort of money. Like, we're just going to go, I'll give it out to a homeless guy. I'll put it on video. Send us the damn money.
Comment down below which colored homeless person you would prefer.
Please. We'd like you to choose, but we'll decide ultimately. But if you can comment down below and decide, we like that. Prefer. We'll if you choose the right color, we'll put a heart around it. But you're gonna have to wait and find out. So comment down below, and you will. As long as you send us some money too. We're the dummies. But yeah, anyways, laughing mushroom was sick. But in Japan, Todd's gonna talk about Japan shortly. We're gonna come get a bit closer to the future. But in Japan, both medieval and modern sources record laughing mushrooms. An 11th century story in the Kanjuku Monogatari describes a group of Buddhist nuns who ate metaki, dancing mushrooms, and began to laugh and dance uncontrollably. It's also known as the warataki, laughing mushroom, which scholars have identified, I can't read that name, or pedigote maltogil, or banded maltogil, and the psilocybin mushroom laughing cap, also called big laughing mushroom, owarakatake.
A for
I
effort.
said that wrong. But yeah.
You did a great job, Jay.
There's also a study, too, on early Taoist practitioners searching for the elixir of immortality. Needham and Liu mentioned the possible use of hallucinogenic plants, such as Amanita muscaria. Remember the mushroom I talked about in that other pod?
Yeah.
The history of drugs? Yeah. The one that's related to religion and Santa Claus and caribous? Yeah. That one.
Number one.
And classic in history. And then Zhaojin laughing mushrooms. So the common Chinese history one. Based on Tang Dynasty and Song Dynasty references, they tentatively identify it as Penalois or Phallodia and suggest that properties of at least some psychoactive mushrooms were widely known. They predict the further exploration of hallucinogenic fungi and other plants in Taoism and in Chinese culture in general will be an exciting task. So maybe like by elixir to immortality, they mean like just understanding what is beyond, but this, the elixir of immortality actually is just a thing that a lot of people were like looking for. It was in a famous Chinese alchemical book. There's mercury, sulfur, salt of mercury, arsenic, and like a lot of poisonous stuff, I guess, in there. So it would probably create an insane bad trip berserker style thing. But I guess that's what you want when you're like taking over a place and creating a dynasty, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Todd, you went pretty hard here on this this whole Japan-China connection that kind of gets US tapped in after to the World War, and maybe the reason why all of a sudden they start doing MK Ultra studies and what have you.
Yeah. It could be a contribution. Some people say it started with the Korean War, but yeah, it could go as far back as this. But also, even before this, they'd already kind of done the Nuremberg trials, made the deals with the Nazi scientists. I think, at least, I'm pretty sure that's how World War II went. It defeated the Germans, and then later the Japanese were dealt with. But what I was looking into though was similar programs to what the Nazis were doing during World War II, what the Soviets were working on during the Cold War, and Japan had their own program that was really similar. It was
You know what Unit 731? And it was like Maruta, is that it?
Yeah, Unit 731. That was the name of the complex, or I think actually the military unit was Unit 31 or 731. They were just in charge of like biological weapons, like and biological attacks was like their official thing for the military. And their cover story was apparently like a lumber mill, and they would literally call their prisoners logs in Japanese, and they would say a joke there was how many logs have fallen today.
Crazy.
But the experiments there were pretty fucking gruesome. Some people have said worse than what the Nazis were doing over there. Some of the stuff they were included was like they had high pressure chambers they would put people in until their eyes would pop out of their head. They had centrifuge chambers or something like that would spin really fast until people died. They wanted to one of the biggest ones that's super controversial that China brings up a lot. It's something called vivisection, and that's the process of like they wanted to know what kind of effects a deadly disease has on the body before like the person dies, during the incubation stages.
What?
Yeah. So they would and they also didn't want the disease being affected by anesthesia. So they would infect people, without them knowing or telling them, or they would just keep them, they're prisoners. They would infect people, and then like later at different stages, like they would infect like maybe like 10 people, and then like at different stages they would just start cutting all these people open like without anesthesia. And there's people who've gone on record, the doctors who go into there, like how fucked up this was. They do like 10 of these a day. And it was super super gruesome. It's called vivisection.
Vivisection?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't know exactly.
It should be in the Wikipedia page for
nice.
if you want to see how to spell that.
Nice.
But
Yeah, the Red Army did a lot of crazy shit, eh?
Yeah, they were. I believe the Red Army is Soviets, isn't it?
or is that
No, it's just CCP in general. Like, yeah, it's
is it?
Soviets and China, like communists.
Oh, well, these were Japanese, not.
Oh, crazy.
This was in Manchuria, in
So they were just
northeastern
in China?
China. Yeah,
Okay, but it
northeastern
was the
China,
Japanese.
but it was the Japanese because I don't know if how much familiar you are with World War II history, but before World War II was happening, for a long time, I don't know how long the war was going on beforehand in Asia, but Japan had already invaded Korea, and conquered most of China by the time World War II had started in Europe.
Nuts.
So, uh, early on, they're known. I don't know if you know this, but like South Korea, well, the entire area of Korea, China, they all kind of really hate Japan or all of those islands too, because they ended up conquering Indonesia, Burma, Vietnam, Laos, like all those places, and they did really gruesome stuff in all these places. But this was like the laboratory, and it was in northeastern China. So this was like one of the first places to conquer. They started with Korea and then went into Manchuria, and then this is where they set this up, and this is where the most fucked up shit was going on. Manchuria and
So they went. So like Japan and Germany like teamed up to kind of go after Russia from the other side.
no, I actually have been reading a lot about World War II, and what was going on in Japan is super like Germany had Hitler, and he was like, "This is the plan. We're going this way." Japan had the emperor and all his advisors, and it was always changing what the plan was and what was going on. So Hitler really wanted Japan to attack Soviet Union, but Japan didn't want to do that, and they always wanted to go in a different direction. That's why they never actually did. They at one point almost made a deal. They wanted to cut a deal with the Soviet Union and allow them to take over all of the communist parts of China because they were still losing to the communists at the time. And that never went through just because there were also certain Japanese people who wanted to invade the Soviet Union. But that's all
So Japan kind of never had an alliance with Russia, just was in negotiations by association with Germany.
Yeah. They were always under the understanding like that they were first told like don't invade the Soviet Union, and Japan felt more secure to go south and invade Britain and France because Germany was invading them in Europe and stuff, and that's like was kind of the idea of the alliance there.
But the tides changed over the course, as we know.
Yeah, as things changed, like Germany started pushing Japan to invade the Soviet Union, but right up to the end of the war, I don't think Japan ever really did that or wanted to do that. They really didn't want to invade the Soviet Union. They were more focused on like taking over Alaska and Hawaii and like Australia. That was they had an obsession about all those kind of areas for some reason. But anyways, near the end of the war, when the Soviets were working with the Allies at this point, and they're helping America invade Japan. They ended up conquering this area, I think, before the Americans got a chance, and so I tried to get access to the files. I don't know if I wrote it down, but there was a long piece on how they destroyed all the documents. It's really fucked up. They just pretty much shot everyone who was left there that was a prisoner, and then they told everyone who worked there that they had to take this to the grave, and they gave them all a cyanide pill for if they got captured. And then none of them, I don't think most of them didn't follow through with it. Most of them just ended up not taking the pill and telling everybody about it years later.
Good idea though.
Yeah, and then they blew up the building, or they attempted to blow up the building, but they built the building so well it didn't actually destroy. So it's assumed that the Soviets had access to some of the documents. Then later, the Americans come in, and they actually make a deal with the Japanese, where they're gonna allow them to go free. Same thing they kind of did with the Nazi scientists. They're gonna allow them to go free as long as they share everything that happened. Because at this point, pretty much all the documentation's gone. All that's left is the Japanese scientists that work there. They're the only people that knows what happened in these experiments, what were the results, and they're pretty much saying like, no, like screw you, and they have they want to stay loyal to the Japanese government. But I forget who it was. I think it was a guy named General MacArthur. Maybe it was someone else. Ended up threatening the scientists with allowing the Soviets to persecute them, because some of the prisoners that were used were actually Soviets, since Manchuria is right on the border with Russia there. Since some of the prisoners were Soviets, they were going to allow them to persecute the Japanese, and that I guess really scared them. So because gulags are super harsh, notoriously one of the harshest prisons there are, gulags. But the Japanese, some of the Japanese scientists end up getting persecuted in Russia. There was first the Tokyo trials, which were conducted by America. So in Germany, when you had the Nuremberg trials, it was a very organized, where like Russia was a part of it, and so were all the allies. In Japan, though, it was America controlled kind of what went on there.
Nice.
So the Tokyo trials, since America had this deal with them, yeah. since America had this deal already with them, they just cut them a break, and Russia was kind of okay with this, kind of understood the situation, was like, yeah. And then they ended up persecuting as many scientists as they could in their own country later. But they did the exact same thing the Americans did, cut deals with them for the information. So even though, like, usually in Soviet Union, like, you just get lifetime prison for anything in a gulag, you know what I mean? You just get sentenced forever. Most of these guys ended up getting like 15, 25 year sentences instead, and made it home in like 3 years. Like, nice. Except for one guy who killed himself in his cell. So probably just was the only dude who wouldn't give up.
Yeah.
The information, right? And
or he got killed like Epstein.
yeah, exactly. And
gave up the information.
Yeah. And then afterwards, both the United States and Russia blatantly let these people go, and then accused each other of letting these people go, and then denied that they did it. You know, it was the exact same thing. Both ends. Yeah.
Classic.
So yeah, that was the Japanese trials. Pretty fucked up. I mean, a lot of the stuff Japanese did during World War II was pretty messed up. They've since changed a lot.
Yeah, but I honestly can't, like, for whatever they did to Pearl Harbor's crazy too, but I honestly can't blame them for how they were treated elsewhere, like, at least in our country, in internment camps and stuff. Like, that's crazy. But yeah,
no, I know.
And the nukes they were hit with too, like,
yeah, I know.
R.I.P.
They fucking they definitely had to feel some pain for all that shit they went through.
But yeah, they got duped by like every side.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, did you already mention like the Chinese and the Maoist government and what you read on that?
Not really at all. No.
True. How the brainwash, how that was all come up with or came to be.
So the word brainwash, so it originated from, well, there's a Confucius word, I guess, that was just meant wash brain. It's a Chinese word, and it was like a play on a word that meant to like wash your hands during a ritual.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Washing your
Chinese
heart, washing your
languages.
mind too.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And so it was used for during the Mao period for when they were trying to convince people to become like communists.
Yeah.
And I think it seems to be a lot of the motivation for at least Russia and China for mind control or brainwashing or whatever it was to just get people to want to be communists or socialists, because for a long time the idea has been that you can't have communism or socialism without the people's support, without everybody supporting it and wanting to be a part of it. So they always just wanted to force anyone who wouldn't or didn't want to change their mind. So Mao's the ways he went about it were started to be called brainwashing, or in Chinese, to wash the brain. And then the first time it was used in English was actually a strange story. It was by
No, can you hold for a sec on that thought?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, so the first person to use the word brainwashing in America was it's actually a strange story. It was a guy named Edward Hunter. He was a reporter, and he was reporting on the Korean War, I believe. It was the POWs that were captured by the Chinese. Apparently, some of them. So our POWs, I guess I should explain, prisoners of war, if you didn't know. And the Korean War being the fission that broke North and South Korea post World War II. The POWs that were captured then, that were caught by the Chinese, were apparently, some of them had actually like started to help the Chinese after they had been captured and defected into China. They actually defected, like became Chinese citizens. And so then this Edward Norton guy started to claim that China must have brainwashing. And some people have
Edward Hunter.
Edward Hunter.
Yeah.
Some people have tried to say that this is the start of like MK Ultra. This is how the CIA got interested. But what it seems like, I think, is more likely the other scenario that has been suggested is that this was how they got the funding. Because me and you know that the guy who, I think Sidney Gottlieb was his name, was already doing peyote studies previous to this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what happens is, so Edward Hunter, he does this story on how China has the brainwashing. Then the CIA is like, well, we need a response. They have brainwashing. And then they also, get this, they also try to cover up the human experiments that, I don't know if it was Sidney Gottlieb doing them or if it was other, maybe it was just the U.S. military in general. The U.S. Army, I don't know the other experiments. The one I do know they were doing was radiation tests from nuclear bombs post-World War II.
Crazy.
To see what they were testing it on U.S. citizen or U.S. Army soldiers, I believe, or U.S. Army POWs that were captured by the Chinese or something like that. And they were trying to convince, they had been tested on by the American government, and they were trying to convince them that they had been brainwashed by the Chinese to believe that they had been tested on by the American government.
Yeah, so crazy. And that Edward Hunter guy was supposedly a CIA agent posing as a journalist too. That's
the other sketchy thing. Like how much of the story is like just all made up just so they could fund this program that they already had predetermined, that they had already started on. They'd already been doing in the Philippines and in Japan, and learned from the Nazis, from the Japanese. Like it's crazy how, when you see how far back this goes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, at the same time, like you're saying, the brainwashing kind of becomes a little more mainstream, and you start to like Elaine Baker and James Richardson start to be aware of it around religious movements and cults, even though Scientology's gone on for, I don't know if it already started or it's gone on for a bit at this point. I'd have to look up into that.
some of the names I put there
But
were
the Moonies, yeah.
were critics of the brainwashing. Apparently, there's a lot of people in the psychiatric community. I think more during the 1980s. I think now it's kind of like considered that brainwashing, or at least like coercion, is definitely real, and people are susceptible to it if they don't understand it. But
Yeah,
during like
couple sociologies that are just as dumb as us, David Bromley and Anson Shoup, consider the ideas that cults are brainwashing American youth to be implausible. But if you don't consider religion a cult, you're right. Like
yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses definitely, if they're not brainwashing, they use tactics that would be considered brainwashing.
Yeah, some people
For
would
one
say.
example.
Yeah. But also,
if you think that's a cult, yeah, or religion, up to you.
Yeah.
But
Depends who you ask. But
yeah, exactly.
another thing people have brought up is that that these techniques are really effective at recruiting, maybe, but not like keeping someone. Like that's oftentimes why you have a cult that has like a mass suicide. I would think is like you can easily,
there's an end date.
yeah, you can easily capture someone and like control their, like when you brainwash someone, you have to actually control their sleep patterns, what they eat, what they do during the entire day. You can do that
Through torture.
but like how long can you do that?
Yeah.
It's not just torture, it's like sleep deprivation. So maybe we'll go into a little bit. I wrote down there's a couple things that the Chinese government, because they've continued this brainwashing or coercion that Mao started at the beginning of communism. They're still doing this to this day. We'll talk about that in a second. But what the techniques that you use are, I guess, you kind of just break someone down where you want to you want to make them feel bad about themselves,
Yeah,
or whatever they believe, whatever
increase
you don't want them to
punishment,
believe.
increase discipline and punishment of behavioral violations. So
And
like,
then you want to
you
make
just
them
make up
admit,
behavior stuff if
yeah,
they're not doing anything wrong, but you don't allow them to escape. You make them repent and confess, like you're saying there.
yeah. And you make them like just do, yeah, you make them admit that they were wrong to think what they were thinking before, and that other people who think that way are also wrong. You make them say that out loud. Just really fucking weird, crazy shit that you would think of.
Yeah. Religious cultic stuff. It's the state, the religion.
So these techniques are still used to this day. Really controversial issue going on right now in China is the Uyghur population. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
I don't have it. The Hubei, is that what you're saying? The Hubei?
It's like a Uigher, I think is how you spell it.
Yeah, I don't even know how to say it.
I might not have put anything down in the notes. They are they're a Western they live in the portion of China that's in the western portion, north of like Tibet, near Turkmenistan and like Kazakhstan area, those type of countries. They're the people that live there are much more related to them and are really far away from Beijing, aren't really related that much to Han China. China's, I think, commonly invaded the area throughout the years, and different imperial empires have owned the land, but they don't consider themselves Han Chinese. And because China wants to have such a good grip on them, they've been trying to first what they did was they tried to get Chinese people to move there more, which was really effective. They've increased the population from like 6% Chinese or Han Chinese to like 50%. And they've also made it so that all the local Uyghur or Uyghur, I don't know how to pronounce them. They the local people, they've lost all the high paying jobs now. Now all the Han Chinese, they have 60% more
higher paying jobs, I guess. And then all of a sudden you started seeing the cultural clashes where clearly the government was coming down on them and the local people. And as this was leading up, the people didn't really, it wasn't known outside of China that these camps were being set up, the internment camps. And what ended up happening was, after a couple leaks, I guess, American journalists who knew how to read Chinese, speak Chinese, they started just searching the internet, because it's easier in America than it would be in China, to look for anything they could find. And apparently they found documents from the Chinese government about these camps and how they're basically just forcing people to live there, forcing people to learn Chinese and accept Chinese culture. These people are also believe Muslim. So they're also forcing them to abandon that religion and become, I don't know, I think China's communist, so they would want them to be secular or not religious at all. I don't even know. But
seem to be fine with Christianity. I don't know. Weird.
Oh, another interesting point is the fact that because America's always claimed that they do things in the name of terrorism, China says that they have to control the Uyghur population because they're a terrorist organization.
Wow.
So that's why they have to set up these camps.
Interesting.
Because they have had at separate times their own separate governments for like maybe a year or two, in between the Communist Party taking over and World War II and stuff. But yeah, they probably would want to be an independent country. And China's already notorious for like being a state controlled place, and apparently it's even worse there. Apparently like just when it's like almost living, the whole like area is like living in a prison. When you're going to and from work, even if you don't live in an internment camp, like you have to turn over your phone to the police, and they just search through your phone to make sure you don't say anything to anybody bad about what's going on. Like,
yeah, that's crazy. It might as well be a prison.
Yeah, the entire province is a prison. It's insane. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure where I was going with this.
Tough to keep.
Did I cover all the?
No, but yeah, that's true. They're even using brainwashing up to this day by controlling the people. But
yeah,
and yeah, like to get back to the psychedelic drugs, they're not. I don't know how much they're really pushing on the drug side, but they're definitely one of the biggest producers of synthetics and precursors, raw materials for all drugs worldwide, like especially fentanyl. And they've been dealing with a lot of money laundering through a lot of different countries. Like, I don't know if you guys have kept up with any of the news out of Vancouver, but there's lots of documented loan sharking, money laundering through casinos out of Vancouver. That's documented. There's also a lot of property money laundering through numbered companies and second mortgages. That's highly documented in both Toronto and Vancouver, but it's kind of ignored and swept under the rug. But I guess government likes the systems because they need to launder their money too. Jeffrey Epstein, sex trafficking, other type stuff, CIA ops,
yeah,
all that type of stuff we want to talk more about. And it's crazy. Yeah, it's hard not to talk about like Jeffrey Epstein and all this other stuff when we're talking about research, because he had such an influence on it by like all the money he's put through Harvard and institutions like that, and the connections with scientists. And that's a big reason why we kind of had to go over like Russia and China, and like we may have to go deeper into Germany and Nazi scientist experiments, even though we really don't want to promote Nazism with how crazy people can be, thinking all of the stuff William Geikar says is right and not just some of it. Even if it is, you can't blame everyone. Like it's like Christianity. Are you going to blame every single person for what one one Catholic priest did to one boy.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that shit. I don't agree with it, but I'm not gonna blame QAnon folks for thinking Jesus is their savior. Like I'm gonna yeah. So yeah, that's some crazy stuff. But yeah, definitely like China's big on producing the
China.
worldwide drug flow. And they
Yeah.
actually give government subsidies to a lot of these companies to export precursors around the globe.
Very disturbing.
Yeah, but yeah, we do want to get into like the brainwashing tactics that people used and how the MK Ultra program kind of released it en masse. Like Charles Manson is a great example of that. Some of the control and influence they had over that, as well as like we were talking about before, the honey trap and stuff, Operation Midnight Climax, that also ran by the same kind of folks. Or if not the exact same folks that did the Charles Manson stuff.
Yeah. Charles Manson seems was one of the first legal cases where people actually used brainwashing as like a defense. And then afterwards, where in his case it almost seems like it was probably true. Later it seems a bunch of people also used it as a defense.
Nice.
That was just like
Works.
a claim after, I was brainwashed. Yeah.
Once they set up precedents,
Exactly.
You can use it. Doesn't mean the judge will agree, but if you got a convincing argument, they can't say beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Might be
beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the other way, Jay. I think they have to prove that you
you're
weren't
guilty.
brainwashed.
True.
You weren't brainwashed beyond unreasonable doubt.
I think it's just if you're guilty, but yeah, if maybe the jury will say. It's up to the
I don't know.
jury.
I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, same, exactly.
We're basing all this on
legal
TV
advice.
shows. Let's be real.
This is not legal advice by any means.
Neither of us have been in a courtroom.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have like traffic court.
Oh yeah, me too. That was fun. Oh wait, no, I skipped that. I was supposed to go. My friends went though.
Convenient.
Oh, not traffic court. That was something else.
Jail.
Oh yeah, that was
prison.
That was
prison.
Oh,
that was prison. Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
good thing I skipped it.
Is that everything we were supposed to cover on China and Japan? I think so.
I think so.
I think there's a lot more we could cover. If you want us to cover more, let us know below.
Yeah, definitely for what we wanted to do, but we're gonna get more into like
intelligence stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to mostly do the reflection of all the other governments and their programs and what we know about them. We're gonna go deep though into the MK Ultra. Like we're gonna talk more about what Sidney Gottlieb, I think it was Sidney Gottlieb or whoever it was from MK Ultra.
You got it.
What they were doing in Asia and what they were working on, and we're gonna get right into his life and who he was. I'm gonna find out this guy, where he lived.
So yeah, we wanted to give you the background of the whole MK Ultra movement. We may have to give you some more info on Britain and Germany before we get into it. We might just get into it and give you that info later. We'll see where the research we do takes us. But this last week, I did see some articles, and it's kind of crazy. This news was published May 23rd, so a lot of news came out that week, so it was easily to get missed, but it was published in Neuropsychopharmacology. Me, myself, by. So they think they're artistic here. Just like us, we're dumb. Regional alterations and the experience of ego dissolution with psilocybin. So a bunch of smart-ass folks wrote this, though.
Nice.
So yeah, abstract. I'm just going to read the abstract. You can get deep into the article on nature.com.
Mm-hmm.
There is a growing interest in the therapeutic utility of psychedelic substances like psilocybin for disorders characterized by distortions of the self-experience like depression. Accumulating preclinical evidence emphasizes the role of the glutamate system in the acute action of the drug on brain and behavior. However, this has never been tested in humans. Following a double-blind, placebo-controlled parallel group design, we utilize an ultra-high field multimodal brain imaging approach and demonstrated that psilocybin, 0.17 milligrams per kilogram, induced region-dependent alterations in glutamate which predicted distortions in the subjective experience of oneself, in parentheses, ego dissolution. Whereas higher levels of medial prefrontal cortical glutamate were associated with negatively experienced ego dissolution, lower levels in hippocampal glutamate were associated with positively experienced ego dissolution. Such findings provide further insights into the underlying neurobiological mechanisms of the psychedelic, as well as the baseline state. Importantly, they may also provide a neurochemical basis for therapeutic effects, as witnessed in ongoing clinical trials. So from that, it seems like they have isolated where the action in the brain is that gives you a good ego dissolution trip or a bad ego dissolution trip. Who knows if that means good trip or bad trip altogether, but it seems like we spoke about before, they're really working hard to try and narrow down that side effect thing. And this proves to me they're not trying to get rid of the good side effects, just the bad ones, or shows me that. Hopefully, all this is not going to be open source. It's probably going to end up being pharmaceutical drugs that are patented and only available for a while. But like, if it is, hopefully it's available recreational very, very quickly, or the medical is easily accessible. But like I've said before, we saw this with marijuana. It takes a long time for these things to happen, and recreational and medical might not be widely accessible until after the patents run out. But it's a great step forward. Great to see they're getting closer to figuring out that awesome ego death thing, that thing we need every once in a while, and the reason why you take a handful of mushrooms instead of just a little 0.5.
Never.
Yeah, exactly. Don't waste your time. Save your mushrooms and add them to the next pile. Although we'll probably get into the benefits of microdosing eventually too, once that research comes back up to the forefront again. There's lots of trials ongoing and cool apps to download if you are microdosing, or if you do have cool microdosing stories or facts, like comment down below, send us an email, send us a text, give us a call, rate us 5 stars, and then tell us your comment. Like, we'd like a 5-star rating, but we're open to the shitty feedback, the criticism. We want to improve. We want to get better for you guys, especially with your help. If you send some cash, Ola, and tell us what to do, we'll do it, as long as it isn't human sacrifice. Unless you say you're the Illuminati. Like, that's the only way to prove you're legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you got to send some big cash up for that.
Yeah.
No promises.
Yeah, for sure.
No promises we're doing anything. But if you send us some money and it's something reasonable, I will
definitely do it.
We'll donate as much as we can to charity. Some of the money will be going to funding your whatever idea you have. And if we don't like your dumbass idea, we'll just we'll like maybe
feed
match
some homeless people.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. We'll pick the homeless, whatever color below wins. We'll pick that homeless person for feeding, and maybe just give them some cashola. Although I don't know if you can even use cash anymore. We're gonna just give them some cash and let them get some food. I don't think we can give them food in this COVID.
No, I figured we'd get like a t-shirt cannon and we just like fire it. Like,
like maybe if it's like just a regular ass dude, not a homeless guy. That's rude. We'll give him a Subway gift card. Oh, we'll let him shoot the cannon at someone, and then we'll give him some McDonald's and Subway and gift cards. Or if you want it to be Mara bread or something that's good for you, send us some more fucking money, dummies.
Dummies. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, freaking China's wild. Pretty cool, pretty great history. I don't trust the government, so I can't imagine living there, and I hope everyone who is there is doing fine with everything that's going on, and being ground zero for COVID, for COVID, for shizzle.
Yeah.
But yeah, just be thankful if you're not in Hong Kong or not in US, that there's no protests going on right now.
Yeah.
That we know about anyways. Who knows? Maybe there's a lot going on. They're just keeping it under
They're
wraps.
just not telling us, man. Canada's falling apart.
Yeah.
Quebec's already seceded. They haven't told us.
Yeah, right. That would be cool though.
I'm trapped on the other side.
Who needs them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck 'em.
exactly. But yeah, we'll catch up on all the different topics we want to cover. Maybe go deeper on William Guy Carr and where the whole Illuminati, Russia, USA connection background came from. Pretty cool. It seems like more and more of that information keeps coming online on the internet every day, or at least keeps getting organized better on the internet, easier to find. So
Yeah.
when I was in the dorm room back in the day, just searching whatever I could find on the internet, you couldn't find nothing on the Illuminati.
Yeah.
But you could find a lot of dumb stuff on how to make a grow up. So I just watched tons of YouTube videos on just like build your own grow up.
Making grow ups.
Yeah, exactly. It's legalized now. Had some fun testing out those skills. But yeah, if it's not legal in your area, like we'll be coming soon with the overgrown if you just subscribe and follow on IG.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, or message us some crazy cool stuff on Instagram. We want to hear your stories there too. DM us.
Yeah.
What's up? What up with it? When this COVID shit's over, or if they already cut it loose and you want us in your city, let us know. We'd love to go visit Texas. Wherever. We're coming soon. University tour plan 2025. Whenever they let kids back into school.
Yeah.
If it's any sooner, we'll adjust the plans accordingly. But yeah,
Right
Todd,
on.
you got anything else you want to hear from the people, or let the peoples hear?
Nah. Thanks, people, for coming. I like the people. I appreciate the people.
Yeah, exactly. We try not to manipulate the crowd. We want them to manipulate us. And yeah, we'll keep getting better together each week, whether that's taking psilocybin and doing the therapy or just taking the rap drugs pod.
To a whole nother level.
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully a bit of both.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Peace, fam.
Peace.